Good evening. It is part two of the Iman Report tonight. It is still Tuesday, September 28th. It is now time to preview college football for week 5. First game we are going to preview is Miami, Florida against Virginia. Two teams that are pretty much fighting for a bowl bid this year. Virginia 2-2, Miami, Florida underachieving at 2-2. The Miami Hurricanes have kind of underachieved so far this year. You got Manny Diaz on the hot seat at Miami, Florida. So the pressure is on for Miami to win. Miami, Florida, the 3.5-point favorites. This is a game where this game is a true toss-up game. I would say I'm going to go with Miami, but I would take the points in this game. Next up in Conference USA action on Friday, you got the Conference USA versus AAC matchup, excuse me. You've got the Houston Cougars going to Tulsa to take on the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. Right now, Tulsa is the favorite at 4.5 points. We take a look at their records, so I don't follow Tulsa too much. Tulsa is 1-3 so far. Okay, they're both in the AAC. So this is an AAC showdown. Yeah, Tulsa currently 1-3. And you've got Houston at 3-1. Houston 3-1 so far. Both schools have kind of been mediocre. Dana Holgerson was supposed to kind of revive this program. It has not happened. Houston's been underachieving under Dana Holgerson. Tulsa, not a great school. This is another one where I might stay away from the betting on. I think Houston's going to pull it off. Houston gets the win. I don't know why people are betting on Tulsa to win this game. Iowa versus Maryland. Number 5, Iowa. And you got the Maryland Terps, which are 4-2, surprisingly. The competition, Maryland's beats not the greatest so far. Iowa favorite by 3.5. I think Iowa's going to win this game. Iowa's going to cover. Iowa's just been right now so far. Iowa's been the class of the Big Ten. But this is a Good Friday showdown. Iowa gets it done though. BYU at Utah State. BYU trying to make a run for a group of 5 bowl bid. And BYU's resume is really good. BYU is going to be one of those teams next week really looking hard for the college football playoff rankings to come out next week. But this year they have taken down 3 Power 5 schools, took care of business against South Florida. I think, and you got Utah State, which is Utah State, which is 3-1 under Blake Anderson so far this season. Defense has not exactly been great for Utah State. They did lose pretty bad last week to Boise State. but I don't think Utah State's is gonna be. BYU's gonna win this game. BYU's gonna cover at 8.5 points. BYU wins. BYU covers. Next up, Arkansas against Georgia. Georgia, an 18.5 point favorite over Arkansas. Arkansas getting no love by the bettors this week, especially after a big win over Texas A&M. Arkansas ranked 8, Georgia ranked 2. This should be a really good game. Sam Pittman should be in the running for Coach of the Year. This should be a really good showdown between Arkansas and Georgia. Georgia tends to underachieve. Georgia will get the job done, but I would not cover at 18.5. I think Arkansas is going to keep this a very close game. Arkansas, I think Georgia is going to win, but Arkansas, I'm going to take the points in this game. Next up, Michigan and Wisconsin. Michigan 4-0. Michigan's looked great so far. Wisconsin, better than what their record looks like. Their losses are to Penn State and Notre Dame. But also, Wisconsin showed that they aren't necessarily ready for prime time at this point. And Michigan can run it all day. Wisconsin's games in Wisconsin, surprisingly, the 1-point favorite in this one. This one, I'm going to take Michigan to win. Louisville against Wake Forest. Louisville currently 4-0. Wake Forest ranked 24. This could be a very low-key, surprisingly good matchup here. Is Wake Forest a contender in the ACC? Is Louisville actually a good team? We're going to find out a lot about these two teams. Scott Satterfield's making Louisville relevant again. And Wake Forest, who has not been relevant in football in a long time, is decent this year. Granted, their best win so far is last week against West Virginia. We got Wake Forest, the 6.5-point favorites. This is a toss-up. This is another game where I'm going to take the points. I really don't think Wake Forest is going to cover at 6.5 points. So this is one where I'm probably going to take Louisville to cover. Cincinnati and Notre Dame. This is the game of the week. Notre Dame going to Cincinnati. Cincinnati looking to get that Group of 5 bid. If Cincinnati gets the win over Notre Dame this week, watch out when the college football playoff rankings come out next week. Cincinnati opening at the 2.5-point favorites. Notre Dame made a statement last week with a big win over Wisconsin. This is tough. This game's tough. This is a toss-up here. Cincinnati wins. I think they get themselves in the playoff conversation. Notre Dame wins. The winner of this game is going to get themselves in the college football playoff conversation. And I'm going to go with Cincinnati. Cincinnati gets the win this week and covers. Next one, an SEC showdown between Ole Miss and Alabama. Lane Kiffin making Ole Miss relevant this year. But so far, Alabama up opening with a 14.5 point favorites. That's another one where the line is a little too high for me. I'm probably going to take. This is another game where I'm going to take the points. I think Ole Miss is going to give Alabama a run for their money this week. Alabama wins, but I don't think they're going to cover the spread. Oklahoma and K-State. Oklahoma opening as the 10.5 point favorites. K-State getting no love by the bettors. But they did surrender their first loss last week to Oklahoma State. I do think Oklahoma is going to be playing mad, especially after the way Spencer Rattler underperformed last week. Oklahoma is going to win. Oklahoma covers. Oregon against Stanford. Oregon, the 8-point favorites over Stanford. This might be another one to lay off betting on. This could be a game where Stanford could be looking to upset here. You don't know what you're going to get from Stanford each week. But at the end of the day, Oregon's going to get the job done. Oregon's going to win. Oregon's going to cover. Florida against Kentucky. Florida opening as 8-point favorites over Kentucky. Kentucky is 4-0 so far. Mark Stoops really putting a good football program together at Kentucky, which is normally a good basketball school. Florida might be just a little too much to handle for Kentucky at this point. If Kentucky can pull the upset, they're going to probably crack the top 25. But since it's in Florida, it's at the Swamp. Gators win. Gators cover. In a non-conference matchup, we get the North Carolina State Wolfpack against Louisiana Tech. North Carolina State, the 19.5 point favorites. North Carolina State should win this game, but I would not take the points. So I would not cover, though. I'm going to take the points in that game. Another good Big 12 matchup this week. We get Baylor against Oklahoma State. Baylor trying to get themselves in the conversation in the running for the Big 12 title. Baylor last week pulled off a big upset of Iowa State. Baylor is 4-0. The winner of this game is likely going to have a date with Oklahoma later this year. This is one that's going to be close. Oklahoma State, the 3.5 point favorites. Another one where I'm going to do it. Baylor pulls off the win over Oklahoma State. I'm going to take Baylor to up, and I would not even consider that an upset at this point. Next one, Mississippi State at Texas A&M. A&M coming off a loss to Texas A&M coming off a loss to Arkansas. And Mississippi State at 2-2 so far. We haven't been that great under Mike Leach. I think Texas A&M gets right against Mississippi State. Texas A&M the 7-point favorites. Texas A&M wins. A&M covers. Why are people... This is one. Why is Clemson a 16-point favorite against Boston College? I don't think Clemson is that great this year. I'm going to do it. Upset alert coming. Upset. Danger. Danger. Boston College at 16 points. Watch out. I think Boston College is going to make a statement and upsets the Clemson Tigers this week. Boston College also at surprisingly, sneakily good at 4-0 this year at Boston College. Jeff Hafley is doing a great job reviving the Boston College football program. And I think Boston College is going to win this game. Clemson is looking like a shell of themselves this year. In another non-conference game, you get Michigan State against Western Kentucky. Nothing to see here. Michigan State wins. Michigan State covers at 10.5 points. Indiana against Penn State. Indiana 2-2 on the year. And Penn State 4-0. This could have trap game written all over it with a big showdown next week with Iowa and Penn State. So this could easily be a trap game coming for Penn State before the Iowa game. But I think Penn State's going to be focused. James Franklin's going to have his boys ready. Penn State wins. Penn State covers. Auburn at LSU. LSU, the 3.5 point favorites over Auburn. Auburn 3-1. They are a good school this year under Brian Harsin. And then you got LSU, who is 3-1. Their only loss is to UCLA so far. This could be a really close game. This is one where I'm not going to take the points. This is one where I'm not going to pick LSU. Auburn gets the win. Don't take the point. Don't bet on this game. Another one, Arizona State and UCLA. UCLA bounces back after a loss from Fresno State by taking care of business against Stanford. Arizona State at 3-1. Arizona State has looked much better under Herm Edwards. UCLA, the 3.5 point favorites. This is a toss-up game right here. I think this is going to be a very close game. This could be a shootout. I'm going to go UCLA gets it done, but I would not take the points in this. I would not bet on this game either. Hawaii at Fresno State and Hawaii. Fresno State favored by 10. Fresno State going to the Big Island. Fresno State has kind of struggled playing at the Big Island. But if Fresno State can get a big win this week, they can get themselves in the conversation into that group of 5 bid. Fresno State favored by 10. But after the upset scare last week against UNLV, this is another game where I would take the points. Fresno State gets it done on the island, but I would not take the 10 points. And those are the notable games for this week. Give this channel a big like, and please be kind and hit that subscribe button. Good, everybody have a good rest of your Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow to preview NFL Week 4.